13 passengers fell onto the tracks from an overcrowded train, of which 4 lost their lives near the Mumbra railway station in Thane district. Now, according to Central Railways, passengers travelling on the footboard on a local train from Kasara, and similarly those on a train going towards CSMT collided with each other and fell. The railway administration and police have begun an investigation into that incident. Now, according to the CPRO of Central Railways, the reason for the accident is believed to be excessive overcrowding in the train. The injured have been taken to...
It is not a collision. It is not a collision. It is actually collision carries a negative connotation. What has happened is the passengers who were traveling on footboard on opposite direction, trains which were flying towards opposite directions we'll say it better. The word which we can use is the passengers have each other. Entanglement of those passengers can be said. That has been one of the suspected reasons, as has been informed by one of the travelers. The distance between trains is very much somewhere around 1.5 to 2 meters, depending upon. The issue is that on curvatures there is a tilt. There is a slight tilt which happens on curvature that may have caused, that may be one of the additive reasons towards this incident.
The injured passengers were taken to hospitals nearby. Meanwhile, soon after the incident, the Railway Board took 2 important decisions. First, all rakes under manufacturing for Mumbai Suburban will have automatic door closer facilities. Second, all rakes in service will be redesigned and door closer facility will be provided in these rakes. And for the latest, our principal correspondent Disha Shah has this report from Mumbai.
What we understand is the fact that investigation is currently underway. Witnesses are being questioned. CCTV is also being scanned and monitored to check as to exactly what happened wrong over here. As long as the next course of action is concerned, this particular incident has immediately prompted the railway officials to take strict measures on the ground level. Firstly, all the coming and the new local trains in Mumbai will have automated door facilities so that such instances do not really take place in the future. As you can see right now, these local trains do not have closed door facility. So this, of course, will be a sort of a relief for the commuters. And secondly, all the rakes that are being manufactured and existence in service will be redesigned in such a way that will have fitted automated door services. This is Disha Shah reporting here for WION from Mumbai.
Dengue fever cases are on the rise across Nepal. The disease has infected at least 1,222 people so far. Nepal's Epidemiology and Disease Control Division has identified surging cases across 72 districts in Nepal. Nepal's Bagmati district recorded the largest uptick with 330 active cases, followed by Koshi district that has 263 active cases. Meanwhile, capital Kathmandu has at least 128 current active cases. A 10-year trend indicates that dengue outbreaks typically peak during the months of June, July and August. Additionally, the incidence of dengue tends to peak following periods of heavy monsoon. While Nepal recorded its first ever case of dengue in 2004, with the virus resurfacing in 2006, in 2022, Nepal saw one of the worst outbreaks with an alarming 54,784 cases. In 2023, the trend continued with 51,243 cases. Both years saw the core circulation of DEN-V1, DEN-V2 and DEN-V3 variants of viral strain. Significant outbreaks were also reported in 2010, 2013, 2016 and 2019. A mosquito-borne viral infection, dengue fever, has been a significant global public health concern, while recovery from one dengue virus type provides lifelong immunity to that type, but only partial and short-term protection against the other three types. An estimated 14.1 million infections were recorded in 2024. And for the latest, our correspondent Saloni Murarka reports from Kathmandu.
Since the heavy rains began in June, dengue cases have surged across Nepal, affecting 72 of the total 77 districts so far. Kathmandu Valley has seen a sharp rise, with Kathmandu alone accounting for 10.5% of total cases. These diseases were earlier concentrated on the lowlands, but has now spread slowly to mid-hill areas. Stagnant water from rainfall and rising temperatures have created an ideal mosquito breeding grounds. Experts say that dengue has become a public health threat, but response efforts remain inadequate, especially in the poorly equipped mountain districts. While the authorities are raising awareness and mobilizing local health centers, Nepal continues to face seasonal rise in waterborne diseases. Saloni Murarka for WION.
As more than 200 wildfires rage in Canada, scientists have a warning for people in the U.S. dealing with the smoke from the fires. Get used to it, because the problem isn't going away anytime soon. In fact, it's likely to get worse. Scientists studying the environment tell NPR, as temperatures rise and drier conditions become more prevalent, more wildfires will ignite. Right now, nearly 70 wildfires are burning in British Columbia alone, and the fires to our north have forced tens of thousands to flee. The smoke from the fires have prompted health alerts in the Midwest, and air quality from the edge of Kansas to the tip of Maine is listed as moderate to unhealthy, according to the EPA's Air Now webpage. Doctors say wildfire smoke can cause respiratory problems, even in healthy people, and lead to serious lung or sinus infections. They urge people in areas where air quality is poor due to the wildfire smoke to stay indoors when possible. The scenes are reminiscent from the Canadian wildfires of 2023, when smoke blew into large portions of the U.S. and the haze lingered for days. Ecologists say this may become the new normal. Those in Canada also note they're impacted by wildfire smoke from the U.S. as much as we are from them. In 2020, you may remember smoke from the California wildfires led to poor air quality in Canada. Scientists say it led to the worst air quality reading ever recorded in Vancouver. Still, one Canadian scientist tells NPR she sympathizes with Americans dealing with the problem. Her message to us: we're sorry for the smoke.
As U.S. President Donald Trump's new travel ban goes into effect on Monday, Haiti is one of the 12 countries left reeling from its impact. It's overrun by gangs and relies heavily on international aid organizations amid its humanitarian and security crisis. Haiti will likely be hard hit by the ban, which effectively cuts a lifeline for families and businesses.
Haiti is not in the best shape as it was before. In the beginning, we were a country of freedom, liberty, just one of the most beautiful countries. And now it's just all being corrupted because of lack of representation, lack of government. There's a lot of just kidnapping, killings. It's just really bad right now. And I feel like people needing to escape to have the chance to live life, literally. And so, as I stated before, it just sucks that they are being denied that access. And I know there is a God, and I know God is still working, and so hopefully I pray that there will be a change pretty soon. But God works on his own timing, but yeah.
She says many Haitians are just hoping to escape violence and unrest in their country. But in Haiti over the weekend, there did not seem to be a significant rush to travel to the United States. At the only functioning airport, passengers boarding planes to the US were hesitant to speak to the media because of fears of possible retaliation upon their arrival.
And shifting our focus to Spain, where tens of thousands of people took to the streets of central Madrid demonstrating against Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez and accusing Sanchez's socialist government of corruption. The demonstrators are also demanding early elections in the country.
arrinconar, perseguir y despreciar a los...
The demonstration was called by the opposition Conservative People's Party under the slogan Mafia or Democracy. According to the central government's delegation, a total of 50,000 people took part in the demonstrations.
We have come to see if Pedro Sanchez will leave once and for all, because this man is corrupt. He is a liar. What we had to do is to go to Moncloa, the palace of Moncloa, to kick him out. He is an occupier. He is taking up space in Spain.
Waving red and yellow Spanish flags and gathering at Plaza de España, demonstrators called for Pedro Sanchez to resign. This is in reaction to a leaked audio recording allegedly showing political activist Lier Diaz, at that time member of the socialist PSOE party, which is Sanchez's party, waging a smear campaign against a police unit. The same had investigated graft allegations. It was the same police unit that probed graft allegations against Sanchez's wife, brother and his former right-hand man. Diaz, who was a part of Sanchez's party, had then resigned after recordings were leaked. Diaz and brother, he has denied working on behalf of the Prime Minister or the party, saying that she was researching a book on corruption. Meanwhile, the Spanish Prime Minister has accused his political opponents of conducting a harassment and bullying operation against him and his wife. Since last year, Sanchez's government and his inner circle have faced a series of corruption allegations. The Diaz scandal is only one of several graft allegations concerning Sanchez. Another is alleged donations to lawmakers close to his party and linked to a tax fraud case.
Overnight in Los Angeles, a slight calm in the streets after days of violent protests over immigration crackdowns. All of downtown LA has been declared an unlawful protest area. More than 24 people were arrested on Sunday after clashing with police and National Guard troops that were sent to California by President Donald Trump. California Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass both say the presence of the troops has made the situation worse. Scripps News Group's Adam Rakusin has more from LA.
Signs held high, messages directed at recent immigration and customs enforcement actions across Los Angeles County.
You guys are taking people from their homes. Like ICE is taking people from their homes, from workplaces. Like these are regular, normal people. They're doing their things. They're not criminals.
The people, the power will only have the power.
The chants aimed at federal authorities.
Even if they've been here illegally, it doesn't mean they're criminals.
And Los Angeles Police Department officers standing toe-to-toe with the crowd. The officers lining the street with shields, guns, and riot gear. As the hours went on, what started peaceful turned to a chaotic scene of officers firing rubber bullets and loud rounds meant to shock and push people back. Protesters moved from city and federal buildings where walls and windows were damaged and pushed toward the freeway, shutting down lanes and lighting cars on fire.
We're on a bridge that's directly over the 101 freeway. Police Department, LAPD, has shut down one of the directions of the 101. Protesters have filled this area. They're almost on every single bridge that crosses over the 101 freeway. Behind me, this direction, multiple cars are on fire. This is just one of the exits to that freeway. On the other direction, Los Angeles City Hall. Police Department is continuing to fire off rounds into the ground, making those loud noises that you hear, trying to push protesters back.
As helicopters circled, Los Angeles Police Department officers stood still, blocking off all major arteries into the city. While many people peacefully protested, others took a different stance, throwing plastic and glass bottles at officers. Some destroyed property and were quickly arrested. We watched as officers fired rounds into the crowd. The sound at times almost deafening. As black smoke filled the air, flags of different countries waved through the streets. What was noticeable, a clear frustration with the federal government. What was unknown, whether the protests will trigger change or incite further government escalation. Adam Rakusin, Scripps News Group.
Las mexicanas y los mexicanos que viven en Estados Unidos son hombres y mujeres de bien, son hombres honestos, que se fueron a Estados Unidos a buscar una mejor vida para ellos y para aportar a sus familias. No son criminales, son hombres y mujeres de bien, honestos. Tienen toda la solidaridad de su gobierno. No estamos de acuerdo con esta forma de atender el fenómeno migratorio. No es con redadas ni con violencia como se va a atender el fenómeno migratorio. Es sentándose, trabajando en una reforma integral migratoria que tome en cuenta a todos los mexicanos que están del otro lado de la frontera. Esa es nuestra posición. Y siempre un llamado a la paz, a la no violencia.
During the back and forth between police and protesters yesterday, an Australian reporter was shot by a non-lethal projectile.
Moving them on through the heart of LA.
Oh, you see it there. Lauren Tomasi was reporting live when, without warning, an officer behind her raised a weapon and fired, hitting her in the leg. Tomasi wasn't wearing any protective gear and cried out in pain before quickly backing away with her cameraman. She later reassured her crew, saying she was...
Joining us live on the broadcast is Richard William Painter, who is an American lawyer and professor at University of Minnesota Law School. Professor, welcome back to WION. Does the U.S. law allow President Trump to send troops to quell protests?
Well, the law under Title 10 allows the president to deploy troops to support federal law enforcement, but all they can do is support the federal law enforcement operations, and he cannot just simply federalize the National Guard for broader law enforcement purposes. That is prohibited under federal law unless there's actually an insurrection. And this is not an insurrection. We have protesters. Most of the protesters are peaceful protesters exercising their First Amendment rights. We have some protesters, though, who are very violent and need to be arrested and criminally charged, setting cars on fire and so forth. But this is something that the Los Angeles Police Department should be able to handle with the support of the National Guard under the command of the governor of California, not the president. There's great risk to a democracy if the president can use the military for domestic law enforcement, and that's why we have very strict statutory constraints on that.
And Professor, I want to ask you, you talked about Governor Newsom. It seems like he has no desire to help President Trump in these endeavors. Is President Trump's move susceptible to legal challenges in any way at this point as we're talking?
Well, there are two different levels. One is President Trump's immigration policy, which will be challenged in the courts. And some of the operations here are legally permissible, whether they are wise or consistent with our values of a country is a different issue. But some of the detentions by immigration authorities are not permissible. We've had some problems the Trump administration has run into in the courts there. But then the second issue is the federalization of the National Guard. And at this point, all the president can do is use the National Guard to the very limited extent he needs to support federal law enforcement operations. He cannot just simply deploy the National Guard all over the streets of Los Angeles for general law enforcement purposes. That's the job of the state of California and the mayor of Los Angeles, the LAPD, and state law enforcement.
Okay, well, thank you very much for those comments. Professor Painter, I look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Hopefully California is going to have the willingness to quell these protests before they get any more out of hand. Thanks for your company, sir.
Thank you.
And as Russia pushes deeper into Ukraine,
NATO is busy ramping up its defenses. A world war level preparation is underway as it fears that it could be at war next. And Germany, Europe's biggest economy, is leading NATO's charge. Germany is accelerating its civil defense plans by reviving old bunkers and plans to turn metro tunnels and underground garages into shelters in case of a war. The expanded bunkers could potentially house 1 million people underground, a number still far from the total population of 84 million. As of now, Germany has room for just 480,000 people in its 580 shelters. That is less than 1% of its population. Germany's civil protection chief says that while a full-scale Russian invasion is unlikely, the country remains a logistical hub for NATO, making it a target for selective strikes. And so hospitals are being prepared to hold 1,000 extra patients daily in case of war. Emergency alerts, air raid sirens, even compulsory military service are all back on the table. Earlier, the German Chancellor said that he wants to build Europe's strongest army. The defense minister is even considering bringing back conscription, scrapped in 2011. If not enough young Germans volunteer. And Germany is not alone, by the way. Across NATO, countries are arming faster than ever. According to SIPRI, Germany was the world's 4th largest military spender in 2024. Behind only the US, China and Russia. In total, NATO members now spend $1.5 trillion a year on defense. 1/3 of that from Europe alone. Russia calls it Western fear-mongering. Just today, the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov slammed NATO as an instrument of aggression, especially as the US-led military alliance prepares to boost air defense spending by 400%. But the frontline NATO states, they are not waiting. Poland, which shares borders with both Russia and Belarus, is going all in. Poland plans to spend 5% of its GDP on defense in 2026. This is a significant increase from its current spending, which was 4.7% of the GDP. Warsaw's goal, in fact, is to build a 500,000 strong army, and mass military training for all adult men has already started. What's more, Poland is also investing $2 billion to build barriers at its border with Russia. Last month itself, it also moved to withdraw from the Ottawa Treaty, which is an agreement between 165 countries to ban the use of landmines. Major powers like the US and Russia are not part of that treaty. In Poland, calls to withdraw from the treaty grew amid fears of the Russian attack. Poland, home to 2 million Ukrainian refugees, says it's been Russia's wrath. It's seen Russia's wrath up close and is now preparing for the worst. 3 other NATO nations, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, have all quit the landmine ban treaty to allow for more flexibility in defense, a very crucial move. Norway as well is reviving Cold War bunkers in Europe's north. Finland is also reinforcing its 1,300-kilometer border with Russia. Helsinki, in fact, has pledged to increase defense spending to 3% of its GDP. Shelters are being built amid Western reports that Russia has started expanding its military bases just 100 miles from Finnish soil. Far from the Russian border, in the UK, 12 nuclear-powered submarines and 6 new munitions factories are in the works. Recently, the British Prime Minister said he will be restoring Britain's war-fighting readiness, and the UK government worries growing Russian aggression. And the NATO knows it must do more. The alliance is now asking its European members to expand air defense systems 5-fold. A major summit later this month in The Hague will set targets for ammunition stockpiles as well as defense production in order to cut reliance on the United States. But here's the thing, as Europe scrambles to prepare for Russia, the US is watching China. Over the weekend, the US Defense Secretary, speaking in Singapore, warned of an imminent threat from Beijing. It's no secret that more than Russia, America sees the Indo-Pacific and especially Taiwan as the next flashpoint. And China is building faster than ever before, by the way. As things stand right now, China has the world's largest navy. It has made big advances in hypersonic missiles and AI warfare. It has bases near Taiwan and is increasingly asserting its presence in the South China Sea. War experts saying that even a small spark there could ignite a global conflict.
เป็นประตูมิติหรือเปล่าวะคุณเฮ้ยพ่อมันแปลกมากเลยแล้ว